Welcome to Cadeau and Janko Wednesdays at Lunch,
Homeburger edition.
This week, Matthew and I didn't go out to a restaurant. No. Matthew, you have been injured. You've been in and out of the clinic. I'm all stuffed up from unclear yet if it's allergies or just an old-fashioned cold. So we didn't go out anywhere. We were tight on scheduling, tight on time. Mm-hmm. And so, Matthew, you made burgers at home because you're a little, you're injured. You're in traction.
Yeah, you know, I would have thought a burger every week would have made us invincible to the ailments of the common man. But
yeah.
No, you're sitting here before me, sick, stuffy. Not that sick, I guess. And
I'm feeling okay.
And I've got a broken back, Sebastien.
I mean, not quite a broken back. Matthew, you want to explain what happened, why we aren't recording a normal episode of the podcast this week?
A beam fell on me.
A beam?
Oh, yeah.
How did a beam fall on you, Matthew?
Well, I was at school just putting something together, and this 12-foot long aluminum beam, probably, I'd say 300 pounds. I'm giving it 300 pounds. That's a heavy beam.
So a big, heavy beam struck you
across
the back.
The kind you see construction workers carrying on their shoulders, you know, it takes two of them to do. And from about 8 feet high, I'm down on the ground nailing something in, and all of a sudden, I'm just knocked even further into the ground by this beam across my back.
All right, what happened after you got knocked across the back? Did you get put into a stretcher and rushed to the hospital?
No. What happened directly after is I got super angry.
Okay, yeah, understandably, I guess.
Then I got up, and then I almost threw up.
Oh.
And I walked away. I probably did exactly what you shouldn't do if you're injured, is start moving my body wildly and seeing if I still have all the range of motion.
What do you mean wildly?
Well, just doing stretches and like twists like I'm a blade of grass in the wind. Just trying to move, dance in a weird...
That's strange that you're like, oh, can I still dance like I never did before?
Can I still dance like a flailing tube man?
Yeah. Strange that you, for some reason when you said you were stretching in different ways, I imagine like you were getting ready for a foot race, like just sort of putting your elbows up and twisting one way to the other, maybe touching your opposite toes. No, you just started flailing in any direction going like, does that still work? Does any of that hurt?
I did like Richard Simmons 80s style, hands on my hips and head down like a chicken and just rotate my body. So probably not, but I'm not paralyzed, so that's good.
Good news.
Then I fainted for a little bit, or passed out at least. Not fainted.
Sounds like the same thing.
Is it? I feel like fainting, you need to be standing up to faint.
That's one way to do it.
I feel like fainting, you need to be standing up to faint properly.
I guess. You can't sit down and just be like, oh my, and like...
I think that's just pass it out.
You know, I was about to say, and then pass out. So, I think you have something to that.
Yeah, if you stand up and you pull out a little handkerchief and you dab your face or something. Anyway, the handkerchief has to fall last. That's how you faint. Anyway, X-rays and clinics and long days and pain later. I'm not broken. I'm not like I thought I was. I thought I had a broken back. I pictured myself being you ever see Pet Sematary?
Sure, but it's been a long time.
Picture myself as that sister Zelda up in the bedroom with spinal meningitis.
I can just imagine you
twisted, horrific.
I mean, I was part of me was pretty disappointed that I didn't come over and you told me you were making burgers, that you weren't in like a full body cast and just flipping burgers with a spatula, like only your one wrist moves and your eyes can move. And you're just flipping burgers. But like one toe is hanging up from a different strap that's connected to your bed.
Yeah, all done myself because I didn't go to the hospital. I actually waited a few days to do it.
Matthew. That's classic Matthew.
But then my mind started
300 pounds falls on your back. It's maybe broken. You're like, well, let's give it a couple days.
Yeah. I mean, for sure my back wasn't broken.
You fainted.
For sure my back wasn't broken. I'd feel that. But I was picturing the worst where it's like, oh, everything's good, but maybe everything's just holding on by a thin sliver where it's like, you know, in a tree, maybe gets struck by lightning and cracks, but it's still standing, and it just takes a little gust of wind to really finish it off. That's how I pictured my body.
One good gust of wind and you would have been finished.
Yeah. Terrifying. But I'm still okay. I'm not I don't have spinal meningitis.
Yeah.
I was ready to just go with that old farmer's line, just say dead is better.
Oh God! What farmer line is that?
That's from Pet Cemetery.
Still Pet Cemetery.
Sometimes
I don't remember.
Dead is better,
and
that's the mind I was going through. It's like, well, if I have spinal meningitis now because of this beam.
I don't think that's how that would work. I don't think a beam hitting you across the back would give you meningitis.
Probably not, but you need to see it. Aunt Zelda, or Sister Zelda, was absolutely terrifying. Can't get it out of my. I'm having you know how I said once that I'll never have PTSD. I think I got it.
Yeah, from Pet Cemetery?
No. Well, that too, yeah.
Oh, from being hit across the back.
Yeah.
That makes more sense.
So, you know the scene in Titanic where someone falls off the boat and they hit the propeller on the way down?
Yeah.
That, I always liked that. Now I see it now, like, oh no. I'm getting flashes of being struck with metal.
Very different.
Very
Someone is
different.
like chopped up to pieces. You were just like smacked across the back. Nothing broke.
Still, there's all those action movies where, Tom Cruise is getting blown up and thrown. He whips his body against the car. I was like, no, this is... I don't want to see this anymore.
That's true. You know what always kind of terrifies me is rebar. You know when sometimes you're following a truck with construction material, and rebar is like those long, thin poles of metal that kind of, when they're on a truck, they kind of bounce and wiggle.
Oh yeah, I saw it.
But what is rebar for? For me, it's just like it goes in concrete. That's for buildings to help stabilize that concrete or something.
Yeah, you just put it in concrete when you're pouring that foundation to hold it all together. Otherwise, you just have, like, when you go under bridges now that are falling apart, you see a lot of
all that rebar.
And
That's
if that
true.
rebar wasn't there,
It
maybe
would just
you'd
be falling apart.
Just chunks of bridge.
That's probably true. So whenever I'm behind a truck that's got rebar bouncing around, that's terrifying. Just one of those slips out, you're impaled on rebar.
Oh yeah,
in your car.
It's just like in Final Destination.
Yeah,
at some point.
Yeah.
Part of the series, I don't know, maybe 2.
I'm sure in one of them someone died by rebar.
Yeah. Well, now beams go on my list of most threatening objects.
Most feared construction material.
Exactly. I had a nice bruise across my back, just a big beam-shaped bruise.
Big rectangle.
Never got that bad, though. I got my x-rays.
Yeah.
And they called me back to say, hey, everything's good. It was a nurse that called me back, left a message.
Okay.
Said everything's good, but but we did notice you have a very minor scoliosis. And I was like, what is scoliosis? And I had to look that up. And I was like, that doesn't sound good, even if it's minor.
Yeah,
what is
scoliosis?
It's a slight curvature of the spine.
Oh.
That just, I was terrified. I kept trying to call her back, and there was no answer. And I was like, you don't leave that on a message? And I started Googling scoliosis, and there's so many different kinds. There's so many, it's a very common thing, probably from birth. You only have a
slight case of it, though.
Yeah, probably from birth. But she said, it's you've probably had it all your life, but she said probably, and that's what sparked my fear. I started Googling it, and there's like, there's scoliosis brought on by trauma. And I was like, well, that was traumatic. That was trauma. That was a trauma to the back. Maybe that.
I think when they say trauma, they don't mean like a terrible fear or a shocking revelation. I think they do mean like being hit across the damn back with a beam.
Yeah, I think it's just you get scared real good. Your hair goes white and a little strip across your head, and you get minor scoliosis.
That's right.
So I was like, you don't leave a scoliosis message and not answer the phone after. You don't know. So then I started. Now I'm like, now I'm part of this group. I got to start joining scoliosis chat rooms. And
did you?
No, but
I feel like it's for this type of thing.
Don't you think? It's probably the worst of the worst.
It was more like a message board type of thing than a chat room.
Helplines.
Yeah.
Scoliosis helpline.
Meetings.
Yeah, meetings I could go to and then just be like, they said it was probably from birth, but they didn't say for sure.
So here I am.
Yeah. Oh, man. Sometimes dead is better, Sebastian.
So, Matthew, this week we had home burgers.
Yeah.
You invited me over to your place. This is something we'll be doing a little more into the future.
As the burger well runs dry, Sebastian.
Well, I think we still have hundreds of burgers. I mean, I have a list in my pocket that's at least 60 deep. We're good for a good long while.
I want to see this list. I picture it like a scroll, like you pull it out and it just unrolls.
No, it's on the Notes app on my phone. It's nothing exciting like that.
Okay.
But we'll be doing more of these home burger editions, where either we review a specific brand or a distributor of beef patty. Mm-hmm. So maybe it'll be a grocery store brand, or I think there's like a casual spa brand. There are particular butcher shops around town that have pre-made patties that are just perhaps presented in balls, but they're already seasoned and what have you.
Oh, yeah.
You just have to mush them down and grill them up. Some of them will be listeners of the show, or people we know who fancy themselves excellent burger cooks, burger chefs, and they'll be preparing their specialty for us. Mm-hmm. At least one person, a former professional burger chef, wants to make us a burger that he thinks is going to knock our socks off. So more of these home burgers still to come. Today, Matthew, our maiden voyage, Matthew's home burger. Matthew, please describe to us how you went about making your home burger.
I feel this is unfair. I didn't have a lot of preparation time. This was a last-minute thing because I wanted to get some Chinese grocery store boxed burgers.
Yes.
And I went to go get those, and there's the only thing missing at that grocery store. They had all melted because of the high heat.
Now, these are cookies. How did they melt?
I want to keep people in the dark about it. Just a box of Chinese burgers melting. But they melted because they're cookies.
Well, cookies don't normally melt, do they?
They have a lot of, I don't know what it is, not Nutella, but something similar to Nutella inside.
Okay.
And once that melts, the burger tops and bottoms, the buns just slide around. And it's a big chocolatey mess. I'm sure somebody bought it and complained. So they removed them all, threw them out due to the melting.
Okay, so eventually we'll find those burger cookies again.
Eventually. But
These
today...
Of vague Asian origin.
Yes. And all it says is every burger. It's the only English on the box. Every burger. So we'll do that soon.
That's the name of the product?
Yeah.
All right. So we'll try some every burgers soon.
Yeah. But today I didn't want to have to go a week without having a burger. So kind of, just went out and did what I had to do. Picked up the basics for a burger.
Yeah. So
And,
please tell me what those basics were. What'd you make? How did you make your burger?
Let's see. I got some ground beef, the lean ground beef.
Sure.
What else was there? No tomatoes for sure.
Mm-hmm.
Lettuce, some chipotle mayonnaise, ketchup, mustard. What else was there, Sebastian? There were a few different kinds of cheese.
Yes.
But they were just cheeses that I had in the fridge. They were old fridge cheeses. I was happy to be rid of them.
You're really not selling those well. You had a white cheddar, you had a marble cheddar.
Yeah, I had some mozzarella. I believe there was also a little bit of Gouda.
Oh, fun.
Yeah. Gouda was going bad, so I had to just save what I could. You don't look pleased by that.
Well, I mean, you tell me the Gouda's going bad.
Cheese
just
is always
after I
going
finish.
bad.
I suppose. Well,
Cut off the hard bits.
yeah, all right.
No mold. If there's mold, I say...
You cut off those bits.
Well, I say get rid of the mold.
Yeah.
Get rid of all of the cheese at that point. But hard bits, I'll get rid of.
I mean, sometimes if I'm seeing just a little light mold on a cheese, I'll just cut the outer. Let's say I've got a big brick of cheese and there's just a little mold on the outside. I'll just cut a ½ inch off of every side.
Yeah.
To get the inside cheese, because the mold hasn't infiltrated deep into the cheese yet.
No.
Just a little on the outside. So you cut a little off the outside. You still got that good inside cheese.
Yeah, I'll do that unless someone else sees it before I can cut it off. And then it's like, well, no. It's like if you drop something. I've dropped food on terribly dirty floors. And if no one's looking, I was like, well, it's fine.
I dropped some scrambled eggs on the floor.
Your own floor?
Yeah, my own floor. I had swept literally the evening before.
Okay.
And then in the morning I made some eggs and I just was clumsy and knocked a bunch of scrambled eggs on the floor. And I was with a girl I'm seeing who looked at that and was like, well, 5-second rule. And I kind of went, ugh. I was very disappointed with myself for knocking all